Hello and welcome back to the Leinster Listen. I'm your host Michael Conan and this is episode 48, the preview of Leinster versus Ospreys in the final round of the URC. The topics we'll discuss today are the URC results, fixtures and predictions, details of our game, the team lineups, who to watch and score and man in the match prediction. First and foremost, folks, I do have to wish the best of luck to the Westmeath senior footballers in the Leinster final on Sunday when they take on Dublin. And look, as a proud Westmeath man myself, I would absolutely love to see Westmeath lift the Delaney Cup once again. It was 2004, that was the last time we did it, managed by the late and great Paddy O'Shea. And look, I better record actually the review episode of the Ospreys game early on Sunday, because if Westmeath end up winning that, you'll actually have to send out a search and rescue party to find me, because that'll be absolutely crazy. But of course, look, it goes without saying that we're obviously very proud of Westmeath, regardless, just for getting us to that final, giving us a day out. And but look, how sweet would it be to see them lift the Delaney Cup once again after so much time has passed. And to quote Paddy O'Shea there, a grain of rice is going to tip the scale, and no truer words have been said about that. But alas, anyway, let's get back into the rugby here, and without further ado, the URC final round games this weekend. Well, as I am recording this, 3 of them have finished, and they were the most dramatic ones I think I've watched in a long time. First and foremost, we had Glasgow Warriors there beating Ulster to retake pole position before the quarterfinals and really putting the nail nearly half, about 7/8 the way into Ulster's final 8 hopes. They're still holding on to that number 8 position in there, but the final score there was Ulster 22, Glasgow Warriors 26. Cardiff also beat DHL Stormers in a very shocking result. Actually, I don't think anyone really had that. If you were back in Cardiff, you would have made a little bit of money there. Cardiff beating DHL Stormers 22-16. The scoreline really probably inflating DHL Stormers a bit. They just got a consolation try at the end, but it was it was a consolation penalty, should I say, but very strong defeat of DHL Stormers by Cardiff there. They should be very proud of themselves, and they have also secured their position in the final 8. Connacht there absolutely melted Edinburgh as well to seal their quarter-final qualification as well. Edinburgh 5, Connacht 26. Now the games tomorrow, obviously still there's a couple of places still yet to be narrowed down, but the games tomorrow as they stand is Sharks versus Zebre. I do think Sharks will win that. Of course, neither of those teams are in contention for the 8th. We have Vodacom Bulls versus Benetton. Now, Bulls obviously are still in that table, and that game will determine whereabouts they finish. Leinster obviously versus Ospreys. Again, Leinster are going to win that one. Hands down, I put my house on it. Scarlets versus Dragons. Sorry, I'm not a betting man though. I'm not a betting man, so I wouldn't put my house on it. But they are going to win. Anyway, Scarlets versus Dragons. I do think Dragons going to win that. Again, neither of those in contention for the final 8. So more of a nice little final round just to get themselves a little bit more points. And then last but not least, and probably very, very stressed at the moment, you have Munster versus Fidelity Secure Drive Random Name Lions. And this is the funny thing here. Munster just need one singular point to knock out Ulster out of the quarterfinals. So they currently stand on 50 points. Ulster are on 51 points. Now the difference there being Munster have one extra win under the belt, and that is all that is needed to qualify in the URC. So either a 4-try bonus point or a losing bonus point will be enough for Munster to nip Ulster out of that final quarterfinals section. And look, I'm going to say I do think the Lions are going to beat them, so they're going to be hot on their heels there, trying to get at least a singular point out of that game. And if not, it probably would spell probably one of the worst Munster seasons there has been in a long time. You know, kicked out of the Champions Cup, following on then also kicked out of the Challenge Cup, and then not to make it into the final 8 of the URC would be very damning on that team. Now they are dwindling in numbers again due to injuries, so anything could really go there, but I would be very, very surprised if they couldn't at least bag 1 point with a home game against a travelling South African team, which we put away very easily. So anyway, going on from that, the details of our game. Kickoff is at 5:15 tomorrow, Saturday, 16th of May. Weather is looking not too great. It's a little bit of light rain, kind of sun showers. It's around 12 degrees, so you need to wrap up and also bring the rain jacket. You're not really allowed an umbrella in the Aviva, but bring something to stop it. Obviously, as I said, it's in the Aviva Stadium, and the referee there is Rue Campbell. And it's actually Rue Campbell's only 4th game as a URC referee, so very early on in his refereeing career. One to watch out for. I have no real opinion of him yet, and hopefully I won't have an opinion of him after it. But anyway, where you can watch, I suppose, the Aviva Stadium is one, of course, TG Carr, Premier Sports, or URC TV. Alright folks, going into the Leinster lineup here. In the backs, number 15, Jimmy O'Brien. Number 14, Tommy O'Brien. 13, Gary Ringrose. 12, Robbie Henshaw. Surprised he's back already. Number 11, and also good to see he's back, Jordan Larmour. 10, Harry Byrne. 9, Jamison Gibson-Park. Moving over to the forwards here. Number 1, Jerry Carr. 2, Gus McCarthy. 3, Rabah Slimani. 4, Big Joe McCarthy. 5, Diarmuid Mangan. 6, and our captain, Jack Conan. 7, Josh van der Fleer. And number 8, James Culhan. Moving over to the bench here, number 16, Ronan Kelleher. Number 17, Alex Ustinov. Number 18, Tyg Furlong. 19, Max Deegan. 20, Caelan Doris. 21, Fintan Gunn. 22, Kieran Frawley. And last but not least, and making a very happy return, number 23, James Lowe. Moving over there to the Ospreys lineup. In the backs, 15, Jack Walsh. 14, Keelan Giles. 13, Ivardi Boshoff. 12, Owen Watkin. 11, Yeston Hopkins. 10, Dan Edwards. 9, Ruben Morgan Williams. Moving over there to the forwards, number 1, Garen Phillips. 2, Effin Daniel. 3, Ben Warren. 4, Rhys Davies. 5, Hugh Sutton. 6, James Ratty. 7, and their captain, Jack Morgan. Number 8, Ross Moriarty. Into their bench there you have number 16, Lewis Lloyd. 17, Cam Jones. 18, Keane Hire. 19, Ben Roberts. 20, Harry Deeves. 21, Kieran Hardy. 22, Phil Cocken-Siga. And 23, and last but not least, Luke Morgan. Bench splits there obviously being a 5-3 split there for Leinster, and also a 5-3 split for Ospreys. Moving into who to watch. Look, for Leinster anyway, Harry Byrne. All fate has obviously been put in him lately. Frawley is there on the bench as potentially as a backup. We've seen that there against the Lions the last day out. And I think this is kind of writing on the wall there for the European final. I think that is going to be the duo that you're going to see in that European final. And look, as always, Harry Byrne's going to need to perform. I think he has a kind of a different air about him now. I think he's kind of settled into position. It's fairly obvious that Sam Prendergast just isn't going to be given that probably this season. I'm very unfortunate there. Maybe he'll get a couple of games in the quarterfinals, but Harry Byrne really slotting himself into the fly half position there. Caelan Doris as well, obviously he'll be coming off the bench. He's an absolute weapon. Conan is taking over the captaincy there, so Doris can obviously focus on what he does best, and that is his day job. So I'm very expecting him to come off the bench and have a huge impact. Last but not least there for Leinster, Jordan Larmour. Look, huge return, lengthy injury. I think he's going to want to showcase himself to kind of seal the deal for a position in that team for obviously the quarterfinal in the URC, but also the big one, the European final. So yeah, a huge game for all three of those. I can guarantee it's going to be a big one. Obviously the O'Briens there as well, huge players. So having them obviously in the full back position and in the wing is going to be absolutely crazy. So over to the Ospreys then, and look, you couldn't go about saying an Ospreys player without talking about Jack Morgan. Obviously he is, not obviously, but probably the most picked Welshman on every Six Nations fantasy team. He's a Jackal King. He's dangerous if the rucks aren't rapid. So Gibson-Park's going to have a serious thing on his hands to make sure he is there. And obviously the forwards are securing those rucks very quickly, because if he give him a chance, he will jackal it. Dan Edwards there as well. He's earning his 50th cap. He's an absolute class player. That's all you need to say about him. He's a class player. He is going to be integral to that Ospreys team, who are going to try their best to disrupt us in our season to get that second position, considering DHL Stormers fell at the mark there. So last but not least there, Yeston Hopkins. If you haven't seen him, he's a very physical winger. He's a few tries in the season, and you're going to want to mark him very heavily. He's a couple of very nice videos there from URC this season of scoring tries. He is very good at it, so we're going to have to watch out for him as well. Previous games there, Blast played them obviously in February 2025. We beat them very narrowly, as we did in those very early rounds, kind of those squeaky bum time moments. Ospreys 19, Leinster 22. So that was in round 11. At that point we were kind of, experiment with the team. We had a couple of injuries. I suppose you could probably still say we had the Lions hangover kind of situation. But look, before that, Leinster put 61 past them with the RDS in May of 2024. an absolute hammering. Ospreys have actually only beaten Leinster once in the last 5 meetings, and that was back in 2021. So I'm going to assume here that the status quo is going to be retained. And look, Ospreys obviously haven't had the best of seasons. Welsh rugby is in kind of dire straits at the moment. Well, apart from Cardiff, obviously, who absolutely outshone the Digital Storms and gave us a boost coming into this one. But anyway, my prediction there, I do think, considering we beat the Lions 31-7, fairly changed team. We have a fairly decent team coming into this one. I don't, obviously a very heavy bench again, which we had against the Lions, which really made the impact. So I'm going to go probably similar to how the bookies have given us. We're 10-11 on with a -22 handicap. I'm going to keep going kind of with that one. Obviously, we're going to need that bonus point win, more so just to prove what we're worth. So I'm going to go 35-12 to Leinster there. And man of the match, I'm going to have to give it to Tommy Bryan because he's just electric. You just know he's going to do it. Alright folks, another shout out here. Best luck to the record smashing, mind you, Irish women's team, who will grace 30,000 plus fans at the Aviva Stadium on Sunday as well. 2 huge games happening north and south of that Liffey, and unfortunately can't be at both of them, so I'll have to make a decision on the day. In their final game, obviously, they're playing for a potential 3-for-3 home victories. They have played an absolute rocker Six Nations so far. It's fantastic for them. Each individual performance of those women has been stellar, so I'm looking forward to that. Obviously it's against Scotland, so it's going to be a huge game. It's going to be a record smashing game, and it's going to be electric. So tickets are still available. Do get down there if you can. It's going to be class. But anyway, that's her folks. If you haven't already, please do follow us on social media, Instagram, Reddit and Blue Sky. And look, hope to see you at the game on Sunday. And also Saturday, mind you, Leinster on that tomorrow. Obviously being the big one there for us as the episode is being talked about. But as always, folks, thanks for listening.